Hello, West Acton parents, it's Miss Kondo here, and I'm just talking to you a little bit about phonics. So phonics is how we teach the children to read and then to write, and it starts predominantly in our reception and then in year one. If you think of your child when they were a baby, the first thing that they did was learn to listen. They were taking in the sounds around them. Then they learned to speak, and at school reading comes very quickly, followed by writing. And phonics is not the only way, but is a very key and important part of your child learning to read and write. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information about the phonics lessons and then some reading lessons that we do as well. So reception and year one have phonics every day, and it's a really enjoyable session for the children as well. And if you have any older children, or you would have already read on our website, we used to use letters and sounds for our phonics. And this summer, the government changed the rules and they said you had to select a government accredited program. And the program that we have chosen is called Little Wandle. So West Acton is using Little Wandle, and you'll be able to find information about that on their website, which I've put the address there. And also if you just go to our school website phonics page, as always, we've linked the information to that as well. And we selected Little Wandle because it's matched very closely to the original letters and sounds. So not too much difference if you have any older pupils. But it's really, really important that you, even if you have older children, that you, or it's your first child, that you really spend the time to understand the phonics. And ideally, we would have you in to watch phonics lessons. Parents of children in year one, you actually got the opportunity to see lots and lots of phonics lessons during the lockdown, so hopefully that was very useful for you. Reception, we're hoping to be able to invite you in soon to a phonics lessons. There are some words that your children hopefully might be coming home with after their phonics lessons, and that they might tell you about, or we might ask you to support your child with that. And what you could do is just pause the video to read the definitions. So blending is when we bring the letters back together to be able to read the word and hopefully understand the meaning of that word as well. Segmenting is when we break down the letters and the sounds in the words, so that we are not making any mistakes with pronunciation, any mistakes with spelling. We identify every sound in there. And fluency is what we want the children to be able to do eventually, is to be able to see words on a page and segment and blend them in their head very quickly, fluently, and also be able to understand, and that's comprehension. So this is all decoding. These are segmenting and blending are decoding skills where they break down the letters in words to be able to put them together fluently to comprehend what they're reading about, and then also to write about it. Other words that your children may be mentioning to you are graphemes. That's basically how we write that sound. Phoneme is how we say the sound. And a digraph is two letters making one sound. So again, you might like to pause and have a read of those definitions. A couple more is we've got the digraph, and then we go on to a trigraph, which your child will begin to tell you about as well, which is three letters making one sound. And then tricky words are something that start right from reception, and they are words that will be very frequently seen in books, but they won't necessarily be following the rules of the phonics, of the decoding, segmenting and blending that the children are being taught currently. So there are just a few words that we call tricky words that children have to learn the tricky part and then learn how to write it and to read it. And so you'll get told about some tricky words as well. So again, you might like to pause the video on these definitions. When the children are reading or writing, we use things called sound maps. So you can see here, and it has all the graphemes written out, so how you say the sound, and the children can use this when they are writing because it will help them remember it. So we encourage them to sound out a word. If they were writing cat, for example, we would be encouraging them to sound out k, a, t, cat, and then they could look up and find the sound on there, find the grapheme of how they need to write it. And then that's how they begin to write. And you will find these grapheme mats, these sound mats, in your reading record, the planner that the children have. So please make sure, if you're trying to get your child to do any writing, that you have those pages of the reading record planner out. Also, how children form their letters is very important, because that will help their handwriting, helps their muscles form in their hands, and enables them to write fluently when they get older, as they progress. By the end of reception, they really should be able to write a couple of sentences that you can read. So that's just to give you an idea. So again, you might like to pause this, but it's also in the reading record planner, and that is a little pronunciation phrase and a formation phrase if you want to support your child with their handwriting. So you can see these. So they're really nice and attractive and easy for the children to learn. Okay, so again, you can pause these, have a look. They're on our website, and they're also, many of these are in the reading record planner. Another letter that they need to be able to form is their capital letters. Obviously, we talk about capital letters and lowercase letters. So we only have a capital letter at the start of a sentence, or for names, or for certain nouns. So there's a different formation for those as well. And that is here. It's also on the website. So you might like to pause. Just to give you an overview of how the sounds, what order all the sounds are taught in, I've put that on here. This will also be on our website. So you can see that there's a lot of new sounds coming, but it's very, very measured. It's very progressive. It builds on, and it's really giving the children what they need to be able to read and to write as soon as possible. So you can have a look in here as well. This is also on the website, or you're welcome to pause the video. So in reception, the children learn phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. And in year 1, they learn phase 5. And we teach phonics in a short session every day, building up from between 10 to 30 minutes. They do get opportunities to practice these or revisit these using these sounds and writing throughout the day. So we're always trying to embed it, and that's why it'd be really great if you did some of this at home as well. And don't forget, there are videos for you on the Little Wonder website about how to pronounce all the different sounds. So please do use those. We use cards with the children like this. So you can see that it's actually really engaging for the children. It's something that they really enjoy. I think also the fact that they're learning something new every day. It's really exciting. What sound is it going to be today? What words can they read today? What words can they write today? So please do ask your children, because they are learning a new one every day. We also have some little phrases that help them learn as well. So it's really, really child friendly, just to try and get the children reading and writing as soon as possible. So I said to you, we segment, which is breaking it down. So app, map, and blend it back. Ip, nip, bringing it back to nip, at, sat. Okay, so you can see that, and that is how your child will read the word in the first place. But what we want them to be able to do eventually is just to map, nip, sat, and then actually understand that in the sentences. So you've got the decoding, which is the segmenting, blending it back together, and the fluency, the comprehension, actually understanding it. Slightly longer words, we put a long sound button underneath, and that is for you. Remember, it's a digraph, it's the two letters making one sound. Eat, meat, a, rain, eat, sheep. And what we also do is, before we start reading the word, we'll say to the children, what digraph can you see? So already I'm helping them to spot this so that they don't try to sound these out as, for example, eh. We'll say to them, what digraph can you see? What's the first digraph you see? Because we don't want them to be saying ep when actually sheep. Here are some of the tricky words. So they're quite simple, but if you think about how we're teaching the children to sound out words, they won't follow those rules. So, but you know that they will be words they're going to see a lot of in books and will want to write. So that's why they're taught early on. Also in reception in year 1, we do some reading sessions, at least 3 reading sessions a week, also based on the Little Wandle program. So there are 120 books in the Little Wandle program that children will read from reception to year 1, and they're all matched to the phonics program. And reading, I cannot stress how important reading is. We want the children to love reading. It should be enjoyable, it should be positive, but it's also the basis for everything. You know, think of all the signs, think of forms that you had to fill, think of how you got here. You followed signposts, you were able to read things. Reading is a basic skill for all subjects. The children will need to know how to read. And so I cannot stress enough how important it is that you read with your child every day at home. That's in addition to, yes, we do the reading sessions in school, but you, in particular, you're very well placed at home to get your child into reading for pleasure, get those good reading habits. Does your child ever see you reading? Do you share books in your home language if English isn't your first language? Do you read just small things around, the labels on things, the bus timetables, the bus labels, food labels, shop labels, anything like that? Please get in all opportunities to read as much as possible. So also all reception pupils and year 1 pupils have their reading record planners where there's lots and lots of information in there. So that really is very useful anyway for your child being in school. It's got maps, it's got our school rules, our school values, it's got online safety, it's got lots and lots of important things, but it's also got some of the phonics information, and it's here that you can record and we can see that you have been reading with your child every day. Our main homework expectation is to read with your child every day, and sometimes parents find this confusing or even frustrating because they want their child to receive more homework. We cannot stress enough how important reading is and that you get those habits in. That is the biggest and very, very best homework that you can do for us and your child. So please, please do that for us. The weeks are marked off as well in the book. So in our reading sessions in school, they follow a pattern, and one is about the decoding, more about the phonics. The second session, we engage the children in reading the book in a variety of different voices and fluently, and so that they really actually begin to love the story and love reading. And then we go on to the comprehension in the third session as well. So also you may think, oh, my child can read this book. They should be able to decode it, yes, but are they reading it with expression, with intonation? So that's around the second time, the second lesson that we do. So when you have a book, you don't just read it once, you need to read it a few times. So decoding, do they get better at blending those words? Are they reading it more fluently? Then going on to the prosody, are they reading with intonation and expression? Are they understanding that there might be different characters talking, or it might be a narrative? And then comprehension. At the back of most of the books, there are some questions as well. So then, did they understand it? So we don't just read a book once, we need to read it several times so the child becomes really, really confident with their book. Just give you some examples here, which you can always pause and have a look. As you will have seen, we're teaching the phonics sounds in very sequential patterns week by week. So if they are given books that are beyond that phonics knowledge, they won't be able to necessarily decode and understand it. Of course, remember I said to you that loving that reading, phonics is only one way that your child will learn to read. Your child may love reading. You may have been reading with your child already, and your child may know some words from sight, which is fantastic as well. But if we're thinking about their phonics, then it's going to look like a little bit like a sort of hidden code. So you can have a look what it would be like if you didn't know all the sounds in these sentences. And your child might bring a library book home, and that might be the case that your child can't read everything in the library book because it's their book of choice. So that's why we give a couple of different books. So they have their phonics reading book that will be matched to the phonics knowledge. And then also you'll be given a sharing book that's a high quality text, and your child will choose a book from the library as well. So you should be able to see quite clearly the difference with a phonics book, because it will have it on the back, the phonics sounds. And then the other books, you'll see they're just like a normal book for you to enjoy. That would be like a bedtime story. When you read this book with your child, remembering that you're trying to do these type of things, this might be not like a bedtime story. This might be you will set a time for this every day and you go through these things. The other books that we give are to get that love of reading, that reading for pleasure. And so that might be something that you share together. Sometimes it's at bedtime or at other times when you wake up first thing in the morning, to promote them to be lifelong readers. As I said, there's lots of help available for you, and that's also on our school website, but on the Little Wonder website, they have some videos for parents there. So I've put a link to that for you. And the things that you can do is to make sure you watch those videos, read the guidance, look in the reading record planner as well. Make sure you have different times for practicing the reading book and reading for pleasure. Please, please do value reading if you read in different languages. Support your child in learning the alphabetic code. That's all in your reading record planner. Celebrate the reading, praise it, model reading yourself, share all the books for pleasure. Check our website. There's lots of recommendations for books. Do model reading. And please, please do get in touch if you need any help as well. And we hope to see you in our phonics and reading events throughout the year. So thank you so much for listening, parents. And we're really excited about your child's reading journey with us. And I'm sure they will be fantastic readers and fantastic writers.